Today we're going to talk about how to draw facial expressions. But before I do that, let me explain a little bit about who I am and what these classes are all about for those of you who are new or watching later on YouTube. I teach drawing fundamentals both online and at an animation school, and I do these free weekly classes to create as much of a real life class experience as I can with the while keeping it free. So these are one-offs, so they're not like a class in my animation school or in my mentorship where they build on each other. I just want to cover some information in a way that I feel is more similar to a an effective class experience than just watching a YouTube video. So what I mean by that is in class, we learn in more of a dialogue. It's not just me giving you information and you hopefully understanding it. It's a back and forth. So I explain concepts, you tell me your experiences, and I try to relate what I'm teaching to what your experiences are, so you'll learn them better or learn the concepts better, which you don't get from watching YouTube videos. So I want these to be conversational as possible. In real life classes, I have social cues. I can see people's faces, so I know when it's time to stop talking and let other people talk. Or when people are confused, I can see it on their faces. When they're getting it, I can kind of see it too. I don't get that online. So if you have something to say, just say it. Don't worry about being rude. Don't worry about interrupting me. This is just how it goes online. If you don't want to speak on the mic or you're on YouTube, then you can just type in the chat and I will respond there. Today we're going to talk about how to draw facial expressions. But before we get into the how, let's talk about the why, because it's important to understand what our goals are so we can make sure we have the right tools to achieve them. So why is it important that we give our characters facial expressions? To convey their mood, yeah, and to make it more realistic. Yeah, I agree with both of those things. Um, I guess that leads to the next question: is why does it make it more realistic, and why? How do expressions convey their mood? Um, I, that one's a little harder, so I'm not going to wait for you guys to answer, but feel free if you want to. So when characters are acting, to make them feel like a character, it should feel like they have thoughts and feelings in their head instead of just they're just there, they're just doing things because that's what the script called for, that's what the artist wants them to do. It helps to think about bad acting. What makes for bad acting? How if you're watching a show or a play or whatever and you're not feeling it from the actors, why is that? What makes for bad acting? It feels forced. Yeah, it feels unnatural. It feels like they're reading a script, not that they are a character who is doing things because of some kind of internal motivation. Their motivation is to read the scripts and say the lines, not something that's coming spontaneously from their own thoughts and feelings. So when we're acting, what we're trying to do is we're trying to reveal what characters are thinking and feeling through their behavior. That's what characters that's what makes characters feel alive when we understand them as having their own internal thoughts and feelings like our own. It didn't feel genuine, breaking your suspense of disbelief. Yeah, exactly. So there's a psychological concept that's really important to understanding here called theory of mind. So the theory of mind is the idea that we have our own thoughts and feelings going on, our own internal experience. And when we use theory of mind, we're assuming that other people have their own internal experience with their own thoughts and feelings similar to our own. This is something that we do naturally as social animals, where we model what is going on in other people's minds to the best of our ability. Try to understand what they're thinking and what they're feeling because it's very important to us. And when acting feels believable, we have a theory of mind of the character, not the actor. And that's the same thing when it comes to drawing. When we create expressions, we're trying to create that theory of mind in the drawing. So it's not just lines and shapes on a page, it's a character that has its own internal experience. That's our goal when it comes to expression. Hello, bro. I really like your videos. They are very useful. Thank you. Appreciate that. Okay. Theory of mind. So, another aspect of theory of mind, which is important to understand because this comes up a lot when we're thinking about acting, is not only do we have a theory of mind of others, we also assume that others have a theory of mind of us. And it's very important to us as social animals to manage that theory of mind for other people. So, for example, what do you do if a loved one gives you a bad gift? Try not to say too much about it because that's mean. I usually that means sorry. I have a camera in the way of my chat. Let me Oh, I would try not to say too much about it because that means they usually didn't know what I wanted. Fake being happy. You become sad. You're getting a lot of hi peoples. Hi Vinny. Getting a lot of different feelings. But yeah, you become sad and you try not to show it. Yeah, so like assuming this is somebody who you love and you appreciate them trying with the gift, you try to appear as if you love the gift even if you didn't. That's the socially polite thing to do, but you're also doing that because you are managing the theory of mind that this other person, that this loved one has of you. You want their theory of mind for you to be that you're happy and you love the gift, even though your own theory of mind is, this is not a good gift. So, this is all things to think about when we are creating acting, and expression is just a part of acting. So, now that we're clear, or let me pause for a minute before we move on. If anybody has any questions or any thoughts about the goal of expression and acting in drawing before I move on to how we achieve that goal. I'm struggling with angry expressions. Okay, that's more of a how than the goal thing, and we're going to get to that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with some facial anatomy because this is the tool that we use for expressions. And as I'm drawing, this isn't related to facial anatomy, but it's something that one of the key principles of acting, uh, especially in drawing or like animation, storyboards, the kind of thing where you're drawing the acting, is that where the characters look reveals what they're thinking because you focus your eyes on what's important to you in the moment. So if you're looking at something, you're probably thinking of that thing. If your eyes look somewhere else, that is a sign that you're thinking of something else. Your thoughts have changed. Uh, we're going to look at examples of that, assuming I don't get copyright strike for playing a scene from a movie on here. We'll see. I haven't done that before on YouTube. We'll see how that turns out. Okay. So here's the skull, and eyes are fixed into the skull, into the eye sockets. They can move, like they can rotate, but they can't move their position relative to the eye socket. They are fixed in there. The jaw, that can move up and down, but all of this top part of the face, that's all fixed in there. We don't want that to move. So when we're acting, we want to focus on the parts of the face that we can move. And even if we're doing cartoons, we want to still think about the facial anatomy because this is how we express ourselves in real life. This is what people relate to. So we want to create something similar, even if it's exaggerated in cartoons. So to do this, let's look at the muscles that move our face, that create our facial expression. Keeping in mind that I don't remember the names of all of these muscles off the top of my head, they're in my book. All of the information I'm covering, or most of the information I'm covering today. Certainly the anatomy is in my book, so if you need more information about that, then you can find that there. So there are one ring of muscle on each side of our face that wraps around the eye called the orbiculus or orbiculus oculi. Orbiculus oculus. Like I said, I'm not 100% on these names off the top of my head because I don't actually need to know the names to draw them. And what these muscles do is they open or compress the eye. So when you blink, using those muscles. If you open your eyes wide, you're using those muscles. So these muscles control the facial expression of the eyes. There are 3 muscles on the bridge of the nose and lower forehead. I definitely don't remember what these are called. But these muscles move the brows. So when they compress, they pull the brows down into the center in kind of a scowling. If you're doing this at home, when I do this in real life classes, I usually see my students like moving their faces around constantly to try to feel these muscles. And hopefully you're doing the same thing. I think it's a good way to learn this stuff. And then we have these broad, flat muscles on our foreheads that pull our brows up. So if you raise an eyebrow, you're using those muscles. In the corners of our mouths, so here's the mouth, got some lips. In the corners of our mouths, we have bundles of connective tissue called modioli, like a little cone of connective tissue. And you can actually see it if you look closely at somebody's mouth. So if you draw a mouth and you have these little like dark indentations and dimples on the side, that's caused by the modioli. Adding those little details can be a very subtle little shape, but it does a lot to make the mouth look more realistic. More than that, it does a lot for the expression, because when we move our mouth, a lot of it is done by moving these modioli. So there are a bunch of muscles on our face that attach to the modioli. There's one on the cheek that pulls it up. There's one on the side that pulls it sideways. And there's one on the bottom that pulls it down. So when we move the corners of our mouth, it can go in those three directions. It can go towards the middle too, because there's a muscle, the orbiculus oris. Like the orbiculus oculi, it's a ring of muscle, but it goes around the mouth. So you can pull your mouth in, compress your mouth. You want to make a sound, you'd use that muscle. And then there are some other muscles that move the mouth not in the corners. And the nose, that's cartilage. It's got muscles attached to it, but it's not really doing anything. It can get scrunched up, and the nostrils can flare, but besides that, we don't do a lot of expression with our nose. It's more for breathing than anything else. So when you're thinking about expressions, probably don't really need to think about the nose besides making it look anatomically correct, or at least anatomically correct enough that it doesn't look wrong. So when we are expressing, one thing that helps is to think about a eye mask or a figure 8 around the eye. This covers the eyelids, the eyebrows, and the cheeks below the eye. And this is one where you want to stretch and squash. How to know the direction which muscles move in certain expressions. I'm going to get to that, but thanks for asking. So the eye mask is controlled by the orbiculus oculi, and the forehead muscles. So you can compress it. You can stretch it out. You can compress one side and stretch the other. But you want to keep the expressions related in this mask. So you want to have the top of the figure 8 connect the eyebrows into a single shape. It makes it much more unified. So in this, even the one that's down is pointing at the one that's up. If I don't do that, if I don't think of the eye mask, have a brow that's down, the brow that's up, that still kind of connects. They don't connect as much, and they don't feel like it's the same expression. It feels like two separate expressions instead of one connected expression. Another thing to think about when you're drawing eyes, even if you're drawing cartoons, is to think about the bottom and the top lid. So instead of just a circle, the circle is created by the bottom and top lid, which makes it look more like human eyes, even if it's exaggerated. Even if you do use a circle, just darkening the bottom and top makes it a little bit more more realistic, like eyes instead of just circles. Now there are cartoons that don't follow this, so it's not required. But a lot of cartoons, a lot of stuff you think about as being really cartoony, it still follows this eyelids instead of just eyelids instead of just circles. Like if you think about Disney cartoons, they always the Disney style is always including eyelids. They are like even Mickey Mouse, unless you go back to the 20s and 30s Mickey Mouse, he's got eyelids. He's not doesn't just have circles on his face. And then the mouth gets pulled by the corners. So the middle of the mouth basically stays more or less in the same place. Try moving the middle of your mouth up and down. You can move it a little bit side to side and a little bit up and down, but not really going too far. But the corners, they can get pulled up and you're happy. You can get pulled out, which is kind of like intense. You can get pulled down. And you're sad. So, now that we understand the tools that we have at our disposal, let's look at what we do with them. So you asked about how the muscles move for certain expressions. So these have been studied by psychologists or sociologists. It's in the book. Some kind of scientists have studied this stuff. And we tend to move our faces in similar ways for certain expressions, just as humans. Across culture, these expressions would be recognizable. So for anger, and keep in mind these are generalized, so people are a little bit different across these, but these are the general ways that it happens, that people are similar to this pattern. And that's what we recognize. So for anger, the modioli move out, the mouth is compressed, and the eyes are compressed, and the forehead muscles pull the eyebrows down into the middle. So the eye mask and the mouth are squished down. So if we're trying to draw something like that, and just thinking about those shapes, compress that eye mask, compress the mouth, and when you compress the eye mask, compress the eyes. Anger. Disgust. Similar to anger, the eye mask compresses in the same way. So the orbiculus oculi compress down and the brows are pulled down into the middle. The mouth is pulled tight in, like in anger, but the corners are pulled down and the middle is pulled up. So drawing that, again, compress the eye mask and the mouth is compressed in and down. I find bringing up the cheeks helps in this one too. Disgusting. Fear. The eye masks open up, they stretch out, and the eyebrow muscles pull the eyebrows up, and the eyes open wide. The eyebrow muscles in the middle kind of pull the corners in together, so they tilt kind of up as well, like the inside corners go up, and the mouth gets pulled out and down. So drawing that as an eye mask, up and tilted in the middle, expand the eyes, and the mouth. I think I compressed that too much. Make it a little wider. And the mouth is going slightly down, but more out. Joy. After all those negative ones, bring in a good one. You can still see the video? Oh, am I frozen? Well, I'm going to keep going and let me know if this is not working for anybody else. So for Joy, the eyes compress. The image disappeared to me. So the eyes compress, but more so at the bottom than at the top. Works fine for me. Okay, that's good. Yeah, if it's not showing up, sorry. And then the corners, the mouth like expands wide. The corners and the top of the mouth go up. And the forehead generally relaxes. So those upper brows aren't really going anywhere. So to draw this, the eye mask is compressed on the bottom, but normal on the top, usually. And probably the most recognizable expression is the mouth is pulled up at the top. And there's Joy. having a good time. So, how many of you have heard the term smiling with your eyes? So, that's one of the tells of a fake smile is when it's just the mouth. But when actual natural smile, the eyes move as well. The bottoms of the eyes tighten. So, you can think of this expression to remember it. So that versus one looks a lot joyful than the other, more joyful than the other. This one looks kind of crazed. So that's joy. And sadness, the eye mask, the opposite of joy, where the eye mask is compressed on the bottom. Here, the eye mask are similar to joy, I should say, actually, because the eye mask compresses on the bottom, but the eyebrows are pulled up, and the eye mask goes up at the top. And the eyebrows are pulled in, so in and up in the corners. Then the mouth is compressed, and the corners are pulled down, while the middle is pushed up. So as an eye mask looks something like this. You see, even before I draw the eyes and the eyebrows, these two shapes already kind of feel like it. And then poor little guy. And lastly, we have surprise, which is almost all in the eyes. So the eye mask opens wide. And the rest of the face relaxes. So the difference between fear and surprise, they're pretty similar, but with surprise, the mouth isn't pulled down necessarily, and the eyebrows aren't pulled up. Or they're pulled up, but they're not pulled towards the middle. And of course, you can combine these, you can make them more or less extreme. These are just the general ballpark expressions that we have. Let me give you guys a chance for any questions before I move on to the example that we're going to use. Okay. So hopefully we don't get copyright struck for this. We're going to watch a scene from Zootopia, and I want you to pay attention to the facial expression that we talked about.
Come on! He bared his teeth first!
So you're probably not getting the sound. Let me know if you're getting the sound on my end or not. If not, that actually might be a good thing, because it will force you to understand through the expression, not the dialogue.
Excuse me? Down here? Hi.
O-M goodness. They really did hire a bunny. What? I gotta tell you, you are even cuter than I thought you'd be.
Ooh, you probably didn't know, but a bunny can call another bunny cute, but when other animals do it, it's a little...
I am so sorry. Me, Benjamin Clawhauser. The guy everyone thinks is just a flabby donut-loving cop stereotyping you. Oh.
It's okay. Oh, you've actually got... There's a...
what?
In your neck, the fold...
What?
The...
Oh,
there's...
here you went, you little Dickens. Oh.
I should get a roll call. So, which way do I...
Oh, bullpen's over there to the left.
Great. Thank you.
Aw, that poor little buddy's gonna get eaten alive.
Okay, yeah, you can see the eye mask.
Goodness,
Huge
they really...
using the eye mask. This goes way back. Probably all the way to the Seven Dwarfs. I'm not entirely sure. Do some research on that. The entire eye mask is eye. Yeah, so let's look at some of these expressions individually.
Excuse me?
So this is a pretty obvious one right here. So what's he feeling? What's he thinking? Incredibles only cover the eye mask part in costume. Yeah, they cover it, but they maintain the shape. Okay, so he's pretty focused on eating. He looks relaxed. Yeah, this is pure joy. His mouth, it's a little distorted because he's chewing, but we're pulling up, and the eye mask is compressed on the bottom, but not on the top. So if I get rid... Pure joy.
Excuse me?
So here, we have the eye mask stretching out and the eyes stretching out and the mouth. Yep, that's surprise. His eyes are up. Mouth is neutral. Eyes are wide, but most of the face is relaxed. Exactly.
Down here? Hi.
O-M.
So this one's pretty clear as well. Eye mask is up in the front, and mouth is pulled up. Joy, but not the most intense joy, but still joy. So that's happy, but It could be happier. So there's degrees. We don't have to go all the way all the time.
O-M goodness. They really did hire a bunny. What? I gotta tell you, you are even cuter than I thought you'd be.
You probably didn't know, but a bunny can call another bunny cute, but when other animals do it, it's a little...
I am so sorry. Me, Benjamin Clawhauser. I am so sorry.
Yeah. No, I'm aware. I'm aware I can go frame by frame. Don't need to. And I will if I need to. So this is they kind of mix, right? You don't just feel one thing all the time for every emotion, but I would say this is fear and surprise. So eyes are up like fear, but the mouth is pulled down, or eyes are up like both fear and surprise, but the mouth is pulled down. So when you think of fear, you probably think of like, getting attacked by a predator or something like that. Or there's like a guy with a knife in the basement. But fear doesn't have to be just physical. Fear can be the fear of social problems, the fear of losing status. So here, he is afraid that he offended Judy Hopps.
Me, Benjamin Clawhauser. The guy everyone thinks is just a flabby donut-loving cop stereotyping you. Oh.
It's okay.
Another thing I want to emphasize here, and this is more of an animation or storyboard thing than an individual drawing thing, but
Cute, but when other animals do it, it's...
So we're gonna go through this one frame by frame. So he's looking, then his expression changes because he's had a realization. This is what I was talking about when I was talking about theory of mind. We need time for the characters to think before they act. It doesn't have to be a lot of time, but just having these two separate beats. So the thought occurs to him, and then he reacts to his own thought. That little beat of him thinking makes him feel much more alive. Creates that theory of mind.
I am so sorry. Me, Benjamin Clawhauser. The guy everyone thinks is just a flabby donut-loving cop stereotyping you. Oh.
It's okay. Oh, you've actually got a thing.
So here's another.
It's okay.
Another example of the theory of mind. So right here, her eyes shift, which indicates that her thoughts have changed. So she's looking at him, then she's looking at the donut under his neck. So she realizes that, then she reacts. This is really good animation. It's not just, animation's not just about being able to draw and being able to move the characters. It's also about making them feel alive and making them feel like they're thinking.
You've actually got...
So getting into the character's head, so what's going on in her head here? Eyebrows are pulled up and in. Eye mask is somewhat bemused. Concerned. Yeah, I would agree with those. Mouth is pulled down. So this is a mild version of, it's a mix of sadness. I don't think she's sad. I would say this is like a mild version of fear. It's embarrassment. Like she's not scared that she's going to get hurt or something, but she feels like the secondhand embarrassment of this. And embarrassment is an emotion that causes fear. Losing social status is a real fear that people face.
Actually, you've actually got, there's a,
What?
in your neck, the fold, there's, in your
So yeah, you can really see it here. This is definitely fear.
neck, the fold, there's,
You went, you little dick.
And maybe a bit of disgust too. The bottom of the eye mask is pulled up. The top is pulled towards the middle. The corners of the mouths are pulled down.
the fold, there's,
You went, you little dickin'.
And then look at the squash and stretch of the eye mask here. We're really getting into animation territory here, but it's still useful to think about that eyes are really compressed. You might not be able to tell without the audio, but she has a little giggle here. You might not be able to tell without the audio, but she has a little giggle here, a nervous laugh. So her mouth is up. And the bottoms of her eyes are up. So here is joy. But is that what she's feeling? Fake smile because the eyebrows are up. The eyebrow is stretched up. Exactly. So this is a really important takeaway here. And this goes back to theory of mind. Fake emotion with the mouth, but the eyes are more truthful. Exactly. So this is a big part of acting, is thinking about the theory of mind of theory of mind. So we're thinking about her theory of mind. So we have what Judy is thinking. So we're thinking about that. And then what Judy is thinking about is what Clawhauser, that cat, is thinking, and I'll make this a little bigger, of Judy. So it's complicated when you write this all out, but we do this all the time. This is just being human. So we're thinking about what Judy is thinking, and Judy's thinking about what Clawhauser is thinking, and about Judy. So she is managing his theory of mind of her and using a fake expression to do so. And the reason we can tell it's a fake expression is because it's not congruous. All of the signs of expression don't match. So we have the mouth and the bottom of the eye mask that she is consciously trying to create a smile, but the nervousness, which is a minor version of fear, is coming through in the eyebrows. So that's how we create that fake expression. We have part of it say one thing and another part say the other, and that's how we read it as fake. So that's what I have for today's lecture. This one's been a lot of fun. Thanks everybody for coming out. I'll give you some time for any last questions or closing thoughts. While you are thinking or typing, I will do my plugs. So we do these every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, which is -8 UTC. If you want to be part of these on the Discord, if you're not already, there's a link in the video description if you're watching on YouTube. We have a fantastic Discord community. We got a lot of great everybody's super positive and super supportive. We have a nice variety of artists from beginners to pros. It's a great place to come and learn. I have a free book. Link for that is also in the description. That covers the anatomy stuff that I talked about today, in addition to other drawing fundamentals like perspective, anatomy, composition, all that good stuff. That's completely free. Download that with the link in the description. I have a free course for people who are looking to get into studying seriously. It goes through most of the first chapter of the book in a way that puts it into action so you can get used to studying in a scheduled and reliable way. And then once you're used to that study, you can apply it to the rest of the book if you want to learn on your own. All of the free content is me trying to give you the take-home version of the premium, which is working one-on-one with me, where you book me by the hour, I review your work, I give you theories, I give you exercises and projects to build your skills, and then the next time we meet, I review the work from the previous week. So you'll always know what you need to study to improve, and as long as you do the work, you'll keep improving. Thanks everybody for joining, and hopefully I'll see you again on the Discord and in future lessons. All right, bye everybody.